Parasat Kapu, Guru Sahasam. Pyar naam Guru Fateh Bala.
ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ।
ਮੈਨੂੰ ਅਫਸੋਸ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਮੈਂ ਚੰਗੀ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਬੋਲੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਬੋਲ ਸਕਦਾ, ਇਸ ਕਰਕੇ ਮੈਂ ਅੰਗਰੇਜ਼ੀ ਬੋਲੂੰਗਾ। Today is Baisakhi Day, as we all know. That's why we're here, to remember something very special. Now, people often say, what is the relevance of Khalsa today? Here we are, we're in the age of computers, the age of electronic warfare, the age where people don't fight with swords anymore. What is the relevance of Khalsa? Well, let's take a look at what's happening in this world. As you all know, from the Hindu tradition, we have the idea of the Kali Yuga. Now, the Kali Yuga is a time when the spirituality is little or none, and truth is zero. Now, look around today. Where is truth? Is truth on television? No. Is truth in the newspapers? No. Is truth in religion? No. Is truth on the internet? Maybe, if you look very hard for it. And I can tell you, I travel, I spend part of my life in New Zealand, I've spent part of my life in Hawaii, I spend part of my life in Thailand. And I can tell you, wherever I go, people are starving for the truth. Starving, starving, starving. They know that they're being fooled. They know that they're being bamboozled. They know that they're being manipulated. But they don't know what to do. Because the people who control this world believe themselves to be totally in control. They don't care what people think, provided they don't think too much for themselves. They don't care what people do, provided people do not become empowered. And this is an important word, empowered. What did Guru Gobind Singh Ji do more than anything else on Baisakhi Day 1699? He gave empowerment to humanity in a way that nobody had ever done before. Those humble cobblers, sweepers, farmers, butchers, they became like emperors. This is the power of the concept. And I don't have to recite the Sikh history to you. You know the Sikh history. You know what happened. You know how in a short space of time, the Mughal rule was destroyed. But what about today? What about today? To recite the list of the problems we have in the world today would take a long time. But let's just zero in on a couple of things. The apathy, the sadness, the depression amongst our youth. Not just the Sikh youth. And we all know the problems. The young men cutting their hair, taking off their turbans. We all know those problems. I don't have to reiterate that. But it's not just the Sikh youth. Children everywhere are losing hope. They're losing hope. Why? Why are they losing hope? Because they don't see a future. They have no role models. Role models. What do young people need? Young people need role models. If young people have the right role models and the right direction, they will thrive. They will flourish. I firmly believe that the overwhelming majority of these young Sikh men who've shaven, taken off their turban, they're doing drugs. I believe if they had one or at least 5, let's say, role models that lived in the image of Guru Gobind Singh Ji and to the standards of the Khalsa. They could see just 5 men or women living like that. Most of them would totally come back to the Khalsa. I believe that very firmly. It's only my opinion. In this day and age, if we truly consider ourselves to be Khalsa, we have to live to those standards. The time for compromise is past. People don't realize it, and you may not realize it, but the oppression that we live under is way worse than the time of the Mughals. You say, what? Oppression? No. We're not oppressed. We live in a free country. This is the United States. Home of the brave, land of the free, home of the brave. Oh yeah? Look what's happened in this election now. Look how in Colorado, the powers that be made sure their candidate won. And it's not just the Republicans, it's the Democrats too. Where was the freedom there? We live under a very clever, very subtle form of oppression. That's why people are addicted to TV. They don't realize they're being hypnotized into a sense of, well, slavery, really. What do? You get up, you drive 10, 15, 20, 30 miles, sometimes more, to go to a job that you hate, sit in a cubicle all day long, comes 5 o'clock or 5:30, whenever it is, if you can get away then. You turn around, you drive back through the same traffic, you go home, what do? You sit and watch TV. But you're stuck. You're trapped because you have a mortgage, you have debt, you've got kids you feel responsible for. And this is the life for so many, not just Americans, but people in Britain, in Canada, in Australia, New Zealand, and now even in the Asian countries. What kind of freedom is that? Guru Gobind Singh Ji, above all else, he gave people freedom of spirit. He gave people the freedom to be empowered within themselves, to stand up and say, I don't care what you do to me. I do not care what you do to me. I am going to do the thing that is right. And what happens to me doesn't matter. I'm going to do what's right. I'm going to do what's right by God. I'm going to do what's right by humanity. And I don't care what happens to me. You kill me, great. Torture me, great. Because I know what awaits me on the other side. That is the spirit of culture.
Bole
So, I realize how easy it is for me to sit here and say these things because they're merely words. What do? I cannot offer any easy answers. Because the one thing that Guru Gobind Singh gave to us, which we don't always realize, is this. He gave us the power of personal responsibility. The spiritual guru is Sri Guru Granth Sahib. We all know that. The temporal guru is the Panth. And what is the Panth made up of? The Panth is made up of individuals. And you all know that when the quality of the individuals is high, the quality of the Sangha is high. When the quality of the individuals is not so high, well, you know the results. All I can say is that it's up to each one of us to do our best to live according to the standards of Guru Gobind Singh. Because he made it very clear that if we live to his standards, which are very, very, very lofty standards, I do agree, and very hard to live to, that we become like him. Khalsa is a reflection of Guru Gobind Singh. Guru Gobind Singh Ji is a reflection of the Khalsa. So, on this day, Baisakhi, 2016, I offer my gratitude to Bhakti Singh, who's been twisting my arm for the last 25 years to get me to come back for this program. And I'm very, very grateful that I did. And I will congratulate you on the birthday of the Khalsa and wish you every success in moving into your own empowerment, not only as a Khalsa, but as a human being. This, for me, is a message of my son. Why did you come, Khalsa?